Hello children, hope you are all doing well. The last class we saw about the respiration in organisms, chapter 10. Is it not? In that we saw about what is respiration, process of taking in oxygen and using it to get energy, and the waste is given out. That process is called respiration. That respiration takes place in two steps. One is breathing and other is cellular respiration. And in breathing, two steps are there. What are they? Inhalation and exhalation. Inhalation means taking in air, oxygen. And exhalation means giving out air. There is carbon dioxide. And this inhalation, during inhalation oxygen percentage is more, and during exhalation carbon dioxide percentage is more. I hope you all remember the percentage and all. Next, in case of a breathing rate, that means one inhalation and one exhalation makes one breath. And the number of times we breathe in a minute is called breathing rate. This breathing rate increases when we do heavy work or after playing, after doing exercise like that. Then in coming to the cellular respiration, it is of two types. There is aerobic and anaerobic. Aerobic means in the presence of oxygen and anaerobic means in the absence of oxygen. In the presence of oxygen, the glucose or the starch is converted into carbon dioxide plus water plus energy, and lot of energy will be released. In case of anaerobic respiration, that is in the absence of oxygen. In case of yeast and some bacteria and all, anaerobic respiration takes place and it releases less energy and results in the formation of alcohol. Another one condition, in case of absence of oxygen, respiration takes place in case of muscles, energy is produced. At that time, muscle cramp will be produced because of the formation of lactic acid. And again, that lactic acid will be converted into carbon dioxide and water, and you may get relief from that. I think all of you remember these points. After that, in coming to the human respiratory system, what is the human respiratory system? That is lungs. Lungs is a human respiratory organ. Is it not? And that system has many parts involved in respiration. There is a separate tract called the respiratory tract for the transport of the gases, exchange of gases. So, this is the structure of the lungs. That is a respiratory organ. Respiration in human beings, the respiratory organ is the lungs. So, this is the structure of the lungs. That is, we inhale air with the help of the nostrils. That is, the passage of air is there. Is it not? That is, the air what we inhale through our nose. It passes from nostrils to nasal cavity, then from nasal cavity to larynx, that is the voice box where the sound is produced, and from larynx to trachea, that is this part. Next, elastic tissue, it will contract and relax this trachea, and then it enters into the bronchus. Then from the bronchus it moves to bronchioles. Then from the bronchioles it enters into the air sac or alveoli. This is the air passage. Now here the air moves in this way and it enters into the windpipe. This is the windpipe. This is nostrils. This is larynx. This is trachea. Then this trachea, this is the larynx where the sound is produced, and from that it enters into the air enters into the trachea, and from the trachea divides into two parts. So that is the bronchus. Bronchus is the singular and bronchi is the plural. So this divided into two branches called bronchus, and the air enters into the bronchus, and this bronchus again it divides further into many branches called bronchioles. It divides into many branches called bronchioles, and each bronchiole they ends in the air sacs called alveoli. So these are the parts that involved in the respiratory tract for the passage of the air. Now let us see about the structure of the lungs. Pair of lungs is present in our chest cavity and protected by the rib cage. In the lower classes you would have studied about this. Is it not? And there is a sheet of muscle called diaphragm. PHOREGM, diaphragm spelling and all you should read properly. Thick muscle of sheet of muscle. Can you see a thick layer here? This is nothing but a thick layer of muscle that is present below the lungs that divides the abdomen and the chest cavity. So our abdomen region and chest cavity, in between one thick sheet of muscle is there, that is considered as the floor of the lungs. Understand? So this only divides the abdominal and the chest cavity, and it acts as the floor of the lungs. And a pair of lungs is present in the chest cavity. In that, the right side, right lungs has 3 lobes. Can you see the division here? 1, 2, and 3. It has 3 lobes. Right lung is bigger in size, and it has 3 lobes. And the left side, it is having 2 lobes. Left side lung is having, it is smaller in size as it and it has 2 lobes. So the right side lung is bigger and it has 3 lobes, and the left side it has 2 lobes and it is smaller in size. Now, the air enters into the nasal cavity. In that, the finer particles will be filtered. Then it enters into the larynx and then into trachea. The trachea is also lined with mucous membranes, where the mucus will be secreted and the foreign particles or whatever that harmful bacteria enter, that and all will be removed. It will not allow that to enter. It will be trapped in that area, in the trachea. Trachea will be lined with mucous membranes. That's slimy secretions. It will, whatever the dust particles, some bigger particles and any bacteria enter means it will be captured here itself. And somewhat your air will enter into the bronchus. And this bronchus, from the bronchus it enters into the bronchioles. And this lung is a spongy organ, spongy elastic organ, which can contract and relax. Somewhat it will shrink and expand. It is a spongy organ. From the bronchioles it enters into the air sacs, where the blood supplies will be more. It will have the alveoli will have the blood supplies. For example, if this is one alveolus, where the exchange of gases, here only exchange of gases will take place. Carbon dioxide will go out and oxygen will enter. And this alveolus will be supplied with blood capillaries. So this is nothing but the blood capillary. Capillary means nothing but the thin tube which carries the blood, through which the blood supplies. So in the blood what is present? Hemoglobin. HAEMOGLOBIN. Hemoglobin is present, and in the air what we inhale, oxygen is present. That oxygen will be taken and it will enter into this alveolus and it will be taken out. Through the blood again it will circulate throughout the body and it will be given out. So where the exchange of gases takes place? In the alveolus. That is called air sacs. Understand? Yeah. So this is the structure of the lungs. It has many parts: nostrils, nasal cavity, then windpipe, larynx, trachea, bronchus, bronchioles and alveoli. Now, I hope you understand the air passage, how it gets exchanged. In the gaseous exchange takes place in which part? Alveolus. That means the oxygen present in the air, it will be mixed up with the blood and it will be taken to all parts. Then from all parts of the body, from the blood, the carbon dioxide will be carried and again it will enter into the alveolus and it will be sent out. Okay, this is about the exchange of air. How that oxygen and carbon dioxide is carried. Next, let us see about mechanism of respiration. The next topic is mechanism of respiration. That is, what we are doing during respiration? We are breathing. That means inhaling and exhaling. At that time, what changes takes place? How it works? How the lungs work? So, when we inhale air, the air enters into the respiratory tract and it enters into the lungs. At that time, the volume of the lungs increases. That means the lungs expand. So the rib cage, the protective covering, that rib cage will move out, expand and it will move out, comes forward. This you can feel by keeping your hands on the chest. And if you breathe in and breathe out, you can feel the movement of your chest moving forward and backward. So when you breathe in, that means when you inhale, the rib cage will move out, come out, moves forward. At that time, the diaphragm level will come down. It will come down like this. As the volume of the lungs increase. Then again when we exhale, give out, what will happen? The lungs contract and the volume decrease. Because of the pressure, the air will rushes out. So at that time, again this diaphragm will move to its same position. And the volume of the lungs decrease and the air will be rushing out and it will be given out. That means the unwanted carbon dioxide will be sent out through the nostrils. And this we can understand easily with the help of a simple experiment. Already you would have studied. Anyhow, I want to show you. So I brought some simple what I have. By using the straws, bent straw, you attach two balloons at the end of the straw and you tie it with a thread. Now you consider these two balloons as a pair of lungs, and this straw, this is the trachea, and the trachea divides into two branches. What is this? Bronchioles. Inside this bronchioles enters into the lungs. Now this is the lungs. This is not, this balloon is a lung. And inside the lungs, the bronchioles will divide into, the bronchus will divide into bronchioles and in small air sacs. These air sacs will be present. Now what we are to do, when we inhale, breathe in, the air enters into the nostrils and enters into this trachea and the volume of the lung increase. That means it will expand in size, is it not? Let us see with this. Now, I am inhaling, that is taking in air. At that time, what happens? The balloon increased in size. Why? Because the air rushes inside. It enters through this tube and enters into the balloon, is it not? In the same way, from the nostrils, the air enters into the trachea and enters into the lungs. and its volume increases. Now do you understand? The volume increases. Then again when we exhale, what will happen? The air comes out, the volume decreases. The air comes out, again it shrinks, and again the air rushes out through the straw, and it will comes out, means the volume decreases, and below that what will be there? The diaphragm. The diaphragm moves up. When the balloon rises, that means that when the lungs expand, the diaphragm will move down. This is not. Rib cage move forward. When the lungs shrinks, that means contracts, rib cage will move backward and the diaphragm will move up as the volume decreases. By using the simple experiment, you can understand the function of the lungs. That means the contraction and relaxation. How the volume increases and decreases and the movement. So both the rib cage and that diaphragm movement takes place during the respiration. During inhalation, the rib cage moves front and the diaphragm moves down. When we exhale out, the rib cage moves backward and the diaphragm moves up. So both rib cage and diaphragm movement takes place during respiration. Another one simple experiment to understand what that carbon dioxide given out percentage is more. For that, another one example is that is in a test tube you take lime water, that is quick lime. What is that? Lime means you should not think of that lemon and all. Sunam with the leaf. It will be white in color. This is not calcium carbonate. That is quick lime. That quick lime solution we have to take in a test tube. And this test tube should be inserted inside and through a single cold cork. And through this, you have to exhale the air. You have to breathe out. Breathe out the air. When you breathe out, what will happen? The exhaled air will enter into this test tube and it will mix with the quick water and it will change into milky. Turns lime water into milky. It will change into white color because of the reaction of the carbon dioxide with the quick lime water. It turns into milky. This shows that what we exhale contains carbon dioxide. Then, along with that, in case that is C6H6, this is glucose, in presence of oxygen, is converted into carbon dioxide plus water plus energy is released. Is it not? This is what takes place during the respiration. And now, for the presence of carbon dioxide, we can do this simple experiment and we can confirm that the given out air contains more of carbon dioxide. Another one, for the presence of water, what we have to do means, if you, that will be mirror in your home and all. In front of the mirror, if you go and blow out the air, a misty thing, that means some water vapor will be formed on the mirror. If you blow like this on the mirror, you can see some vapor formation. This shows that what the air we exhale contains water vapor. That is, the water content is given out. So through these simple activities, we can understand what is given out during the respiration. So do you understand this respiration in human beings, how it takes and mechanism of respiration and all. So as we are multicellular and bigger organisms, the respiratory system is there, separate respiratory system is there. But in case of unicellular organisms or in some other animals, how respiration is going on? Hope you all understand the structure of the lungs and the mechanism of respiration and the simple test for to know what is given out during a respiration and all. Are you clear? Next one. animals. Next one, respiration in animals. For example, in unicellular organisms like amoeba, already it is a single cell organism. Then there will not be any separate system for respiration and all. Then how the exchange of gases takes place? By means of diffusion. Diffusion means what? Movement of particles from higher concentration to lower concentration. That means it has amoeba has a cell membrane. You don't have any other system. Just one food vacuole, one nucleus, contractile vacuole, cytoplasm. These are only present, surrounded by a cell membrane. So outside in this atmosphere, air is present. So from the air, the oxygen will move inside the membrane, passes through, diffuse. Because oxygen concentration is more in the atmosphere. When this amoeba or the microorganism needs oxygen, as the oxygen concentration is low inside, the oxygen moves from atmosphere to inside that cell membrane. And in the same way, the carbon dioxide will be given out. What this animal don't want. So the exchange of gases takes place through diffusion. This method called diffusion. Next, this is in case of amoeba or whatever it is, unicellular organisms. Next, in case of earthworm. In case of earthworm, how it will, it is a worm and it's inside the soil. How it will respire? It don't have any nostrils or some nothing, separate system or parts, nothing is there. How do they respire? Through their slimy skin. You would have seen some worms, is it not? How its skin will be shiny because of the secretions, mucus secretions. Some liquids will be secreted on their skin and it will keep always that skin moist. So through that skin, and it will be very transparent, their skin, and it will be supplied with the rich blood vessels. The blood vessels will be near the membrane. So the oxygen and carbon dioxide will diffuse. The exchange of gases will take place through the blood vessels, through the skin, slimy skin. Again, in case of frog, what will happen? You know that a frog is an amphibian and it will live both on land and in water. When it is on land, it will have a separate respiratory organ called lung. It has developed. When it is in water again, its skin also moist. And it is having some pores, and through that skin, slimy skin, it will exchange the gases inside the water. In water also oxygen is present, is it not? So inside the water, what the oxygen present in the water will be taken by the organisms through their skin. So frog, their skin in water. What about the fish? It also lives in water. So the fish respires through gills, you know. Is it not? And in the gills will be present in the fish. The water rushes in through the mouth, and what it may pass through, the water may rush through the gills. At that time, the gills will be supplied with the blood capillaries. More blood vessels will be supplied to the gills. So that blood capillaries, they will absorb what take oxygen through diffusion method. There is no separate tract. Just the oxygen molecule will enter into that blood capillaries through the diffusion. So diffusion means is nothing but the movement of the particles from higher concentration to lower concentration. So from their surroundings, they are taking, for example, amoeba through diffusion, earthworm through their life cycle, sea, frog through their skin in water, and on land it respires through lungs. Then fish through gills. Almost all mammals have separate respiratory organ called lungs. Then in case of dolphins and whales, they are mammals, but they are living aquatic animals. Even though they are aquatic animals, they are mammals. They have lungs. They have well-developed lungs, so that it comes out to the surface of the water then and there to respire. You can see in a geographic channel and all that whales and dolphins always they will come out to the surface of the water, and in the whales and all they will spray out that water. That means air. It is not water, it is air. Breathe out. It breathes out and take in. Then it will go deep. It can withhold that breath for a long time. So they come, the dolphins and whales, they come to the surface of the water often to breathe. Understand? Next, what about in case of insects? In case of insects, they have spiracles. What is it, spiracles? Small tiny holes present on the side of their body. In the lower class itself you would have studied. So, for example, cockroach. Like this. And in this cockroach, they have small holes at the side of their body, and these small holes are called as spiracles. And these spiracles will be attached to a tract, respiratory tract. They have separate respiratory tract to which it is attached. The spiracles are attached to this respiratory tract. So a network of tracheal tubes, these are the trachea. So these tubes are the tracheal tubes. There will be a network of tracheal tubes. So the air will be entered through the spiracle and it will enter into the trachea and it will passes through this respiratory tract and the oxygen will be supplied to all parts of the body. Almost in all insects have this spiracles to breathe. So this is a system that is going on in the insects. For example, cockroach, grasshopper or ant, whatever it is. Insects have holes at the side of their body through which the tracheal tubes will be connected and the oxygen supply will be carried out. Next one, in case of plants. You know how the plants respire. How it respires. Where the exchange of gases takes place. In leaves through stomata. In leaves through stomata. So in leaves, what is present? Small holes called stomata is present, and through the stomata the exchange of gases takes place. Is it not? Then in case the leaf stomata is present, then stems also have openings, small openings. Thick stems or the trunks. In the sides they have the small openings to respire. In the trunks, big trees and all. there also the respiration takes place. So the holes present on the thick trunk are called as lenticels. In the leaves we call it as the stomata, the pores present on the leaves. What about the stems and the big trees have trunk? Is it not? They also have pores to respire, through which the respiration takes place, and that is called as lenticels. Understand? So today we saw about the chapter in respiration in organisms. In this we saw about the passage of air, then structure of lungs, mechanism of respiration, how do the lungs function. Next, how it gets exchanged. Is it not? Next one, respiration in different organisms, that is in cockroach, insects, next fishes, aquatic animals, frogs, earthworms and all. Even in plants, how the exchange of takes place, that are not been discussed in this chapter. Hope you all understand. Along with this, I will send a PDF of classwork and also worksheet. You all please write neatly, and if you have any doubt, you may make a call to me and we may clarify your doubt. Thank you, children.